Ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts, hold on tight. You're in for one crazy, epically amazing, and super cool ride tonight on the Josh Nolan Full Throttle Racing Show, hashtag one on YouTube. With me tonight, we have Davin Kaiser and Will Beverlin from Almost Home Motorsports. Welcome to the show, guys. It's my pleasure to
Thanks
sit
for
here and
having us.
talk to you. Guys. I know when we last chatted, Will, you talked about how Almost Home Motorsports came into fruition. So now let's talk about how you ended up with Davin behind the wheel.
In full transparency, it all kind of started a little bit as a joke. Um, Davin's granddad, Roy Anderson, is well known all up and down the Mid-Atlantic. He's been racing for what, like 50 years now? How long has he been racing, David?
Shoot.
Long
Before
time.
I was around, so.
Right. Long time. And
Yeah.
he now, everybody goes to him to buy their car parts and their tires, and he does fabrication work and everything and builds race cars as well for ARC Racing, who is one of our sponsors this year. But we happened to just cross paths last fall in Natural Bridge Speedway. We were already out. We were going to run that day, but then we found shavings in the oil pan when we changed the oil. And we were like, yeah, we better not risk it. We don't want to grenade the motors. So we just parked it for the rest of the year. And Anne-Marie and I had come to kind of this crossroads because last year was very, very expensive with the cost of inflation and everything going on. We spent thousands and thousands of dollars in tires, probably spent 300% more in tires last year than we did the year before. And then probably 200% more in fuel than we did the year before, because the year before we were on Sunoco 110. This year is E85, which of course burns faster and is just as expensive. So we burned twice as much fuel, had twice as much tires when they cost twice as much, and we were just out of money. We were just like, that's it. Like it was a great run. We were here to honor Evan, who you see, over here, in the number here. We were there to honor him. I think we've done that. And so it was either we sell everything or we find somebody who can help put some skin in the game and help to operate the team. And so Davin was down at Natural Bridge Speedway because he wanted to run his hobby stock down there last year. And Roy's like, well, I think I'll just, we're going to bring the car down, support him. And I just said, you need to put that boy in a crate. And he's like, well, I don't know. And then we're like, well, I got one I could sell you, kind of joking. And then we just kind of laughed about it and walked it off. And then that was that. And then Anne-Marie and I got to talking and we were like, that might work. If Roy and that whole camp gets involved and are able to help operate the car, like we could provide the car for them. We have enough money to refresh in the motor. We have enough money to refresh in the transmission and the rear end. We just don't have enough to operate the car after we've done all that stuff. So if they can step in and help us operate, we can give them the ride and, and still continue this thing forward and still honor Evan's memory and still, have a ministry and have a presence at the racetrack. And so that's how we approached it. We just came to them and said, what do you think? And then from there, Roy, I think he approached Davin's dad, and Davin to see what they would think, and they had to think on it for a little while, and then Davin, you take over from there. How'd that go?
It took us a long time to decide, but we knew that we were getting into something good and a very good opportunity for me. So we just we looked at it for a long run, how it would help me, and we said just running a hobby stock probably wouldn't get me very far. So we had to step it up a little bit and get into the higher ranks to make me out there and and make me a better driver and get to know the community of everybody a lot better. So, I mean, I think it's going great so far for just being like
Yeah.
my first race. And I was turning fastest lap, like one of the fastest lap times on the track. So I think I'm doing pretty good so far. So it's just gonna get better from here.
But before this
Okay,
whole thing
so
got started, like David wasn't calling us back. And then Roy's like, hey, did you call them yet? And then David's like, yeah, Dad, you need to call him. You need to call him. And that's how it
okay,
started.
very cool, very cool, very cool. So, Davin, what was it like for you to climb into a crate late model for the first time?
First time is definitely it's a lot different for me. And like in the hobby stock, we don't have no quick steering. We just got a quickener and that's it. And these you got a rack that as soon as you turn the steering wheel, I mean it's going. And it's it's pretty tough for first time in it. And it's just gonna definitely be a learning curve for me. So it's just gonna get better from here, hopefully. And
Well, he's being modest,
it's,
but like it took him about 5 laps and then he started getting it.
Okay, okay. So, Davin, when you first started in your racing career, what did you first start out in?
I've been running go-karts since I was like 14, and that's where I started. And which I mean, I've been in racing my whole life, and just being around it, I think's definitely helped me a lot. So that way I know like how to explain how the car's doing and what it's doing. And I mean, I started at Highview Speedway in the
Okay,
go-kart, and the I only ran half a year the first year, and I got like close to around 10 wins. And then the following year, I ran the whole year, and I think I got around total like 36 total wins for the year and a half that I ran them. And then at the end of that year is when Vance Williams asked me to drive his hobby stock for him. And within the first 3 races, I won a race. So he asked me to drive it again the following year, which we finished third in points and got 2 wins, which we should have. We ran up front almost every race, and but then the last like 3 quarters of the season, we had motor troubles and electrical issues that we could never figure out. But now the racing that season's over, we found the problem. So, but I
I
mean,
remember that coming off of
yeah,
4 and all of a sudden you go and you'd sputter a little bit.
yeah, and which that right there definitely makes the racing like difficult and makes you want to just sit down and just not do it no more. But us, we don't do that. We keep pushing.
okay, okay. So, with your sponsors, Davin, have they been with you all of your racing career, or are they just a lot of them come on just in the last year?
We got about like 5 that has been on my go kart and then the hobby stock and now the crate, and then, but the rest of them just came within the few years. And then Will and Anne Marie had their sponsors that they had on the crate last year, which we with all of them combined, we got 21 sponsors now.
Are you still looking
Yeah.
for sponsors?
Oh, we're always looking for sponsors. I mean,
Yeah. I don't know
anything
what kind of
helps.
question is that? Come on, man. Of course, we're always looking for sponsors. Matter of fact, we actually have a surprise announcement, and I'm not going to say who it is yet, but we're teasing it. Okay. We have a new sponsor who's coming on board, and hopefully we will have his logo and everything on the car by the race this coming weekend. Now
Okay.
there's supposed to be rain coming into the area and everything, so it may get canceled, but we hope to have the new decal on the car, and I will be doing a Facebook Live pitch for that new sponsor once we reveal their identity.
Okay, okay. Very cool, very cool. So, beans, you guys are still looking for sponsors. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out there. If you guys are anybody out here gonna be watching this racing show, feel free to hit up Davin, Kaiser, and Beverlin and Almost Home Motorsports to get your name on their race car, because I'll tell you what, they would very much appreciate you as sponsors to be a part of this racing team.
Yep, and you can go to our website, almosthomemotorsports.com, and you can see what that sponsorship would give you there. I mean, we have links to all of our sponsors' web pages so that they can, drive traffic to their goods and services. There's a chat bot window in the bottom right-hand corner, so if you need to get a hold of us right away, you can always leave us a message there to reach out if indeed you did want to move forward with sponsorship.
Okay, so David, let's talk about, when you climbed into your go-kart for the first time, what was that whole experience like for you? Were you just a little bit nervous going back in your racing career to where this all began?
I mean, definitely nervous. I mean, anytime you get in something new, it's always nerve-wracking. And the track owner, we went to practice by myself just to see how I would do. And the track owner said, he don't need no more laps. He said, put him out there. So, I mean, it was definitely nerve-wracking, but I knew I had the team behind me and the sponsors and everybody behind me that I knew I could do it. And I definitely believed in myself, and I just went from there, and it turned out good. I mean, my first race ever racing anything, I finished second. So
Very awesome, very awesome, very
Yeah.
awesome. So David, before you climbed in the crate late model that you're racing now, what was your racing number?
it was 72. It's we had it in memory of my uncle Kevin Dermer, who passed away 2 years ago, and he passed away to cancer. So we just did a memorial for him, and that's why you can see in the number the little ghost 72. That's for him. And
Okay.
before that, I was 0, which is what used to be my dad's number, and it's my sister's number now on her modified, and which I still would have been that one, but we definitely did 72 for my uncle.
Okay.
And your uncle had a
okay.
phrase, right? So you
Yeah,
can't see the
flying.
phrase right now on the car because he's sitting in front of it. Slide to the right just a little bit and let everybody see the bottom of the car. There's his phrase.
Right there.
His nickname was Tick.
Okay. Very
And
cool.
so
Very
David
cool.
wanted to have flying like Tick on the car.
Very cool. Very cool. Talking about nicknames, we're going to get into that right now. What is your nickname, David?
Most people call me Kid Kaiser. I mean, the person that owned my go-kart, Josh Bennett, he came up with it. He said, it started, well, obviously I'm still a kid, and he said, you're a Kaiser. So, I mean, it goes great together, and it just stuck with me.
Okay.
But his dad's name and his name are so close to one another that if you say it like quickly, they don't know who you're talking to.
Okay.
It's just
okay.
one
okay.
letter
okay.
different. So
Okay. Okay. So, David, let's talk now about what is your future plans with the racing? What is your 5-year plan with the racing?
I mean, obviously this year it's focus on the crate, and then maybe towards the end, on like when the points races die down, I'll step into the modified and just get my feet wet in that, and then hopefully in the next years, I'm still in this ride, hopefully, and if not, then move on to the modified, and then hopefully get into bigger and better things, and just go from there.
Okay, what is your 10-year plan with the racing?
Definitely go like travel around the world. Definitely. I mean,
Okay.
that's everybody's plan in racing, and that would be a dream come true.
Okay. So now back to Will and Dave and Bo. What is the team camaraderie like as far as, the communication between you and the team? And, well, are you guys on race day, the nerves real high, or is it just, keeping it at even keel, or yeah?
you want to take that first?
You can go ahead.
in all honesty, I think that it's been really, really good. Anne-Marie and I have been very pleased with the entire crew and the diligence that they have shown in, taking care of everything, maintaining everything. I mean, heck, after the race last week, the car was washed, nut and bolted, and ready to go by Monday. So, I mean, you can't.
Wow.
I mean, that gives us as car owners a good peace of mind, knowing that we've got people who not only is winning in a family tradition for them, but they've got it in their blood that they want to take care of the equipment, and they want to make it as competitive as possible, but last as long as possible. And like I said, with last year, with the amount of money that we had to spend to keep the car on the track and to maintain that car, to see that they are being so diligent really gives us a great peace of mind. And Anne-Marie, when she's at the track, she's pretty chill and pretty calm. And she's actually happy to have her car on the track, honoring her son. It's not stressing her out. So for us, we couldn't be more pleased.
Okay. So, Davin, let's talk about your aspect on this question here.
I think it's going great so far. I mean, it's definitely a learning curve for me, but I mean, for how good I've been doing so far, I mean, I think it's definitely going to work out great. And then, like, our sponsors, I mean, everything goes back into the car. I mean, we keep nothing. Like, all my
Yeah.
payout that we get goes straight back into the car. I mean, buy tires, fuel, etc. I mean, nothing that we are given goes out of the racing. Everything just goes back into everything towards racing.
Okay. So, Davin, let's talk now about what is the biggest learning curve you've had to learn climbing into a crate late model like this?
Definitely the steering, how quick it is. I mean, with the Howie stock, I mean, I turn it a little bit. I mean, yeah, it turns, but it don't go real fast. I mean, the crate, as soon as I turn, I mean, it's going wherever it wants. And I mean, that's definitely the biggest thing. But then also how it hikes up with the hobby stock, it didn't really move much. But this, I mean, it hikes up, and it's just definitely one of the
It likes
two main
turning
things.
left.
Yeah, definitely two of the main things that I'm learning so far.
Okay. So, Davin, who is all on your racing crew now? Who helps work on this awesome automobile?
I mean, obviously, Anne-Marie and Will, I mean, they keep me going each week. And then my dad and my sister, they help me in the shop every week, almost every day. And then I got my granddad and Mikey at ARC. I mean, anytime I need like tires, metal, something like that, or anything welded up, they help me, which I mean, we still got to pay a little bit, but they still help me a lot. And I couldn't do it without them.
Yeah, Mikey put
Okay.
a really nice safety bar in the car right behind the driver door to better protect Davin. But also it makes it look like a 2018 Rocket.
Very cool. Very cool. Very, very cool. So, Davin and Will, what is some of the big racing events you guys got on your calendar for the year?
Well, the Battle of the Bay is probably one of the biggest crate races in the Mid-Atlantic. And that's happening in just a few short weeks. So Davin has quite a bit of learning curve, I guess, to pick up in the next couple of weeks. And we're really just hoping and praying that he's able to make the show, because like 105 cars will show up to qualify for a 24 car field.
Wow, very cool.
And so, I mean, the first year we were racing, Daniel, who was racing with us, he didn't make the show. And then last year, Daniel got second quick out of all those cars, and won his heat race. So he did pretty well. And so for Anne-Marie and I, we were actually just talking about this morning. Like if Davin just makes the race, we'll be tickled pink. That's going to
Okay.
be a pretty big show for him. But in seeing what I'm seeing, if the chips fall right and he can qualify well and start up front, I think he's going to be very competitive, even as a rookie.
Okay, very cool, very cool, very cool. So, Damon, are you nervous about this big race coming up?
I mean, yeah, definitely with all the big name guys coming in. I mean, I just I don't plan on being in the way, but I'm just, if I would be, I just want to, this nerve wracking getting passed by him is just, I just don't want to be like a cause of something, but hopefully we're not back there. And hopefully I'm just shooting to make it. I mean, that's the plan. But if I do make it, I mean, just stay out of wrecks and obviously just finish the race. I mean, that's the main thing.
Okay. So, Damon, what do you do to help calm your nerves before you get into that race car?
Uh, um, I don't know, nothing really. It just,
He just don't pay no
I
attention
just,
to it.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, I put my mind on one thing and focus on that one thing.
Okay, very cool, very cool. So, Damon, who is your racing hero? Who is the one guy that you looked up to in your racing career, or many?
I mean, I would say as a younger kid, I was definitely a Scott Bloomquist fan. I mean, I got the headlights on the
Okay.
car. I mean, this show my respect to him. And as I got a little older, I mean, yeah, obviously he's died down a little bit. And now I'm like looking up to like Jonathan Davenport. I mean, last year won $2 million. I mean, that would be like a dream come true for me if I could do that. But I mean, hopefully I can one day. But I mean, that's a lot of hard work right there.
Yep.
Oh yes, yes. So, David, let's talk now. Okay, when you're at the racetrack and say you're getting hungry, what do you like to eat at the racetrack?
Usually when
Meemaw's
I'm
food.
racing, I don't. Yeah, usually I'll just eat like a snack or something. But usually I don't eat nothing. I mean, never have when I race, and I just not like superstitious, but I am, and just
Oh,
I really don't. I usually eat before I come, and then after that, I don't eat till after.
okay. So, getting on the subject of superstitions, what is some of your superstitions?
Cat's out of
Um,
the bag now, man.
I mean, usually, if I run good, I would try to wear the same clothes the next week. I mean, and just, I mean, doing everything the same each week is like one of my biggest things. To where if something goes wrong, it's not the car's fault, it's mine. And and the only way to fix that is just to fix me.
Okay, okay. So, David, now we're going to ask you this question here. When you're away from the racetrack, what is your favorite restaurant to eat
Uh, I mean, we usually just stay here like like probably like 5 miles down the road. There's Applebee's. I mean, we usually go
at?
that
Okay,
all the
okay,
time, but my go-to is probably either Texas Roadhouse or Outback.
okay. Here's
Steak.
another one. We're okay. Yeah. So now we're going to really open the front door on this one here. When you're at home, what is your favorite home cooked meal that your family makes for you?
Um, uh, uh, um, I would say when I'm at my house, my sister cooks either quesadillas or chicken Alfredo.
Ooh,
That's
ooh.
pretty
Okay, okay,
good.
okay. Oh yeah.
Then when I'm here at the shop, my grandma fixes tacos every week, once a
Ooh,
week.
very good, very, very good, very good.
That's that's good.
Yeah.
And then my grandma I call Meemaw. On every Sunday we go eat dinner there, and usually whatever she fixed is awesome. I mean, we always look forward to going there every Sunday.
Okay. So, Damon, in your racing career, how much success have you had in your racing career? How many feature wins and wins have you got racked up in this illustrious career?
In go-karts, I got about 30 some roughly.
Wow, that's pretty huge. It's pretty huge.
Yeah, and those I only ran that for about a year and a half. And then the
That's a
hobby
lot of
stock,
wins in a short time.
Oh yeah, a lot of
and
wins.
then the hobby stock, the first year, the first like I only ran 5 races that year. I won one, and then last year I won twice.
Okay. So, David, when it comes to you being at the racetrack, who are some of your friends at the racetrack?
Um, just families, most of my friends, and then obviously my corners, Will and Emery. I mean, they're always hanging around us. I mean, and just I try to be friends with all my competitors. I mean,
Yeah.
so that way there's nothing in between us, and if there is, we can always just talk about it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you always got to be
Yeah.
friends with. I mean, when you're on the racetrack, you don't really think about it, but you want to try to be friends with them so nothing does happen. I mean, so
So when it comes to you being at the racetrack, David, here's another question. This is kind of a new one I'm gonna throw out there. When it comes to you being at the racetrack, do you have like a trademark, like, hey, I wear sunglasses or something like that to kind of be the cool cat at the track?
um, definitely, I got my pit bike. That's number one. Uh, and then most of the time I wear sunglasses. Most of the time.
Okay. So, David, when it comes to you racing at the racetrack, what kind of racetrack do you prefer? Do you like a wet, sticky track, a dry, slick, or a really heavy track?
Oh, definitely dry slick for me. I mean, the heavy tracks, yeah, I'm good, but that doesn't show a driver. I mean, dry slick shows what the driver really has, and that's what I'm always better on. I mean, yeah, I'm good on heavy race tracks, but uh, dry slicks is when I really show.
Which is why in
Okay.
his opening race, he was turning as lap times as fast or just under the leader
Wow, that's pretty huge. That is very huge. That is
in his
very
very
awesome.
first race.
Very awesome. Very awesome. So, Damon, when it comes to you at the racetrack, what is by far your favorite racetrack that you've raced on so far?
I've only ran on 3, which is Hagerstown, Winchester, and Natural Bridge. I mean, by far my favorite is definitely Winchester. I mean, that's the one I'm almost there every week. I mean, I've only ran Hagerstown 3 times and then Natural Bridge once. So I really didn't like get the feel of them, but by far right now is definitely Winchester.
Okay, very cool. And how big is Winchester, Damon? And well,
Uh,
It's a 3/8 mile high bank oval,
yeah.
kind of a bull ring.
okay. Alrighty, very cool. So, Damon and Will, so you guys got I got that big event coming up on your racing calendar. I would love to see you guys out here in the Midwest racing that late model out here. Definitely, we've got some great late model stuff out here. Definitely. So, Damon, when you're away from the racetrack, what do you like to do away from the racetrack?
Away from the racetrack, I'm usually right here in the shop. I mean, either I'm helping my granddad do something or I'm doing something on my car. And if not, then I'm out either racing my go-kart or racing foolers. I mean, I'm always evolved around racing. I mean, that's what I want to live
I,
to do.
I, I like that about you. You eat, sleep, and breathe racing, much like myself. So,
The whole
Damon,
family of his does. They all do.
oh yes. So, Damon, when it comes to life in general, do you have any advice for the kids coming up in the racing world?
I mean, definitely is always have confidence in yourself. I mean, you're gonna have them people that look at you and say you can't do it. I mean, you gotta throw them people behind you. I mean, you gotta keep looking forward and focusing on yourself and have all the confidence in the world. I mean, if you don't have confidence, you shouldn't be out there. I mean, and if you're scared, you're just gonna get yourself hurt. I mean, so you can't be scared. You just gotta focus on yourself and put everything you got out there.
Okay. I've got a big question for both you now. Okay. We're going to start out with you, Davin. In your racing career, what's some of the craziest things you've happened to you in your racing career? As far as go-karts, highway stocks, and now racing this crate late model with Will and Beverlin. Beverlin and Amber, you guys have some crazy stories to share with us as this adventure begins with you guys?
With go-karts and highway stock, I mean, I was always called a cheater because I came out of this shop here. I mean, that's everybody called me that. And which, I mean, I had one of the most legal cars out there, and the go-kart, I mean, it's one of the bone stock carts you can get. I mean, and then the hobby stock was built back in like 2010, and the rules for that has like went through the roof. So I mean, they're like driving street stocks, and I'm like an actual stock car, and which, I mean, that's one of the biggest things. But then another crazy thing is like one of my like is like my third race in a go-kart. I got like every time I went on the track, I've gotten a wreck. And then it's just like, oh, do I want to go back out there or not? And it's just, and luckily nothing like big has happened to me. I mean, like 3 or 4 years ago, my sister flipped at Potomac, which that was one of my biggest things in like my whole racing career. And but nothing has really like bad happened to me, luckily. I mean, hopefully nothing does. And that's about it.
Do you guys have any like crazy moments, like, hey, oops a daisy moments, like, oops, I forgot to do this to the car, or man, you know?
So this past week, Davin's dad, was checking the fuel levels. And apparently, when the fuel indicator that you unscrew and you lift out, well, some of the fuel can get kind of in the foam that's in the tank, the baffling foam that keeps the sloshing from moving around.
Yeah.
And so apparently the indicator picked up some fuel off of the foam. And he's like, oh, well, I got plenty of fuel in there. Just go race.
Oh boy,
and then he goes out
boy.
and does a couple laps and comes back in, and like he checks it again, and like the fuel didn't go down. He's like, okay. So he opens up and looks inside the tank. He can't see any fuel. He can see the foam, but can't see any fuel. Checks it again, and the indicator doesn't go down. He's like, well, let me put some fuel in it. So he took, 2.5 gallons, put it in it, checked it, didn't move on the indicator, but he still couldn't see anything. Put another 2.5 gallons in it, nothing. Put another 5 gallons in it, nothing. Put another 5 gallons in it. So now he's got 15 gallons of fuel in it, and now he can just barely see it.
Oh boy.
He's like, well, I'm glad I checked it.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. So
He told me the other night, he said, sure enough, he had gone out there and then like ran out of fuel. And then he would be like, yep, I know what's wrong with it. It ain't got no gas in it.
Yeah. Oopsie daisy. Oopsie daisy.
But he caught it before it was an oopsie daisy.
So you guys got a new sponsor coming on board. We're anxious to see what that's going to be. That's going to be pretty cool to see what that's all about. Thank you guys for coming on board.
It dovetails into Davin's favorite food.
Okay.
Let's just put it that way.
Okay. All righty. Okay.
We'll see. Stay tuned, everybody, to Almost Home Motorsports on the Facebook page and on our website. It'll be revealed.
Okay. Thank you guys for coming on board with me tonight. Talk with us about your guys' racing program you guys got going on. And you having David and Kaiser behind the wheel this year. That's going to be pretty cool to see him at all the racetracks. Definitely. It's going to be pretty cool to see that. Definitely to see this racing program grow. Very much. Definitely. I'm very proud of you guys. I'm very, very proud of you guys.
Thank you, Josh.
And I'm going to throw it over to you guys now, because this is the part where Josh gets put in the hot seat. You guys get asked the man, the myth, the legend, here, the host, the questions now.
Okay, put me on the spot, man. All right, so you live in Iowa, right?
Yes, I do.
So you got a lot. I mean, obviously the Midwest is really huge when it comes to dirt track racing.
Yes.
So of all the tracks that are around you, what's your favorite track to go to?
I have a few. Fairmont Raceway has to be right up there on the top 5. That's a high bank half mile. Then you've got Boone, Iowa, home of the Super Nationals. That is just an epically insane race. That's 7 days of racing nonstop on a 3-mile track. And you get 1,000 to 2,000 race cars, and you're just like, ah! And then you've got Fairmont, Spencer, Iowa, which is it's called the Midwest Madness Tour. Comes to that track. That's pretty interesting to see all that there. And then you've got Jackson Motorplex, which they run sprint cars and late models there. Definitely something to keep on the calendar for that. And then one track I would love to take in is Houston Speedway, because we have a great big crate late model show coming up towards the end of the year. It's like a 3-day deal out of Houston and Brandon, South Dakota. That's one of the big ones I want to take in. But like the number one, I would have to say Knoxville, Iowa.
Knoxville.
Yes, Knoxville, Iowa. I was there 90 and 99 for the Knoxville Nationals, and just getting to meet all the 410 drivers and be around that atmosphere was just like, wow. Yes. And getting to see people that you normally don't get to see, like, just walking up and talking to Jack Howshaw, and you're just like, whoa, this is pretty cool. And definitely then getting to talk to like Dale Blaney and Stevie Smith, and when Stevie Smith was driving. And then, I can go back on a story back in my final year at the National 99. I happened to be standing in the pits, and I was waiting for Mark Kinzer to come back from winning the Knoxville Nationals after doing all his press interviews and stuff. And Carl Kinzer pointed me out of the crowd, and he says, hey, who are you looking for? I said, well, I'm looking for your son, Mark. And he says, well, Mark's going to be ill in a while. He says, can I help you with anything? I said, well, I kind of like to get an autograph from Mark, and just sit and talk to Mark a little bit. He's like, I've got hero cards. You want one of mine? I was like, game on. let's talk. And he signed an autograph, and he says, hey, you want your picture taken with me? I was like, the god of sprint car racing mechanics, game on. Let's go. You know your stuff. yeah, definitely. Yep. And Lance Blevins, back when he raced, definitely was one that was very awesome to talk to. Steve, Shane Stewart. A lot of them guys. Yes.
Awesome. Well,
Yes.
also I wanted to let everyone know who's listening that me and Anne-Marie, when we were down at Volusia Speedway here a few weeks back in February, when the World of Outlaws was down there, and the gentleman from Steve Fowler actually is who I got connected with, and with Racing with Jesus Ministries, and they invited us to come and participate in their chapel service that they had, and their guest
Very
speaker
cool.
was Hudson O'Neal.
Very cool.
So we got to hang out with Hudson O'Neal, and Devin Moran came by, and so we got to hang out with those guys for a little while and chat a little bit, and got our picture taken with them and everything, and then he turned around and won that night. I'm not taking credit for that. That's just what happened.
Very cool. And a little something
But,
too for you guys to kind of keep in mind too. Out here, where sprint car racing is pretty huge, we have some pretty inspiring drivers, much like your racing program there as well. And Davin Racing, we've a guy that I befriended through Facebook, and I remember watching him when I was a kid. Guy out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Greg Gunderson. He is really inspirational. He is by far the only driver that I know of that races a sprint car, or did, and he is the first ever sprint car driver to be deaf.
oh wow.
Yes. And then I've met the first ever full-fledged competing sprint car driver that is paralyzed also. And he, even though he's in a wheelchair, he still races 105, 160 miles an hour in a sprint car with hand controls. And I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to give a shout out to Joe Kelly and Steve Fowler, who are associated with Racing with Jesus Ministries. And they're super great people, and they're encouraging me to also, participate in our local racetrack as well. And everybody who knows me knows that, you know, I don't make any qualms about my faith. And if you have any questions about that kind of stuff, please come up and talk with me. But I'm gonna, obviously when I'm there as a car owner, I'm filming the racetrack, you know, and posting those videos on YouTube and our Facebook page. So Almost Home Motorsports has its own YouTube channel. Please like, subscribe, and share. We're trying to grow our fan base there. And then we are over 850 followers on Facebook now at Almost Home Motorsports Racing. So we're very, very blessed, very, very grateful to be in this position. And we just hope that we honor the Lord and we honor Evan here, who is with him right now. And I'm very proud of Davin and David and Holly and Haley and Roy and Mikey Corbin, who's jumped in and helped out a lot. Just really super blessed to be a part of this, plugged in really to this racing family of 3 generations, and now carrying on in the years to come.
Very cool. Very cool. It's my pleasure to have you guys on board. And I'll tell you what, Racing with Jesus, definitely, that's an awesome program. Very, very awesome program. But I'm going to let you guys step out. I will do a little racing news update, and I will call you guys. I'm Davin. Have Will shoot me a message with your phone number so I can give you a call. Thank you in person for doing this with me. Definitely. And then, Will, I will call you in just a little bit too. And thank you again for doing this with me also. But yes, I will let you guys step out, and I will give a little racing news update. I'll give you a call in a little bit.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Josh, for the
you.
opportunity. Hope you have a great night.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank you
very much. Thank you. You guys have a good night as well. Yep.
You too.
Bye.
Yep. Bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Almost Home Motorsports. Definitely find them on YouTube. Definitely go hit them up on Almost Home Motorsports on YouTube. Also hit them up on Facebook. Definitely a very awesome team to follow and be a part of. Definitely. That's a very awesome opportunity there. Also, ladies and gentlemen, a little racing news update for you there. I'll tell you what. We're gonna give the racing news update, and then I've got something else I want to talk to you about also. Congratulations goes out to Joey Logano for picking up the NASCAR win today, ladies and gentlemen. That was pretty awesome, him. And then also congratulations to Rico Abreu for picking up the World of All Sprint Car race like yesterday also. And congratulations to Zane Smith for picking up the Craftsman Truck Series win. Changing subjects a little bit now, ladies and gentlemen, got some very tragic news to tell you about. Definitely something to kind of weighing pretty heavily on the old heart here, and definitely on much of the racing world through my racing show and through Quarter Midget Racing. Very, very awesome gentleman. His daughter Jenna Screeton, Quarter Midget driver out of the West Coast. Jim was tragically taken from us on Friday. On his motorcycle on his way home, just on a leisurely ride on his motorcycle, and was tragically taken from us. Jim, very, very awesome gentleman. Looked forward to working with him in the future, and then also working with Jenna in the future also, which I'm still looking forward to working with Jenna, hoping we can get her on the racing show here. But our thoughts and prayers go out to Jim Screeton's family, his wife Melinda, his daughter Jenna, and the whole family on the passing of Jim. Definitely, ladies and gentlemen. And then also another project I'm working on with Joe Cravotta. We are going to be kicking off something kind of totally awesome and adventurous on this side of things. I'm going to get it we're possibly going to be doing a spin-off of this show with me and Joe as host and co-host, or both co-hosts, and definitely keep your eyes peeled on that, because we will eventually be making a huge debut on YouTube with that. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have a good night. Catch you later. Another episode of the Josh Nolan Full Throttle Racing Show. Before I let you go, we're going to say a little prayer for the family of Jim Screeton and his wife, Melinda and Jenna, in memory of our Father, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to go like this here. Lord Jesus, we come to you tonight to pray for the family of Jim Screeton. Jim was tragically taken for us on Friday in a motorcycle accident. Jim had a lot of sorrow in his life over people he's lost, but Jim, was looking forward to the racing season and racing with his daughter Jenna. But with that being said, Lord Jesus, please watch over Jim's family, his wife Melinda, his daughter Jenna, and that whole family, and all of Jim's friends, everybody in the racing world. With that being said, Lord Jesus, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses. Thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, definitely go hit like, subscribe on the Josh Nolan Full Throttle Racing Show, #1 on YouTube. That's where my racing show is. Also, go press like on the Josh Nolan Full Throttle Racing Show, #1 on Facebook for a lot of your racing news updates. Also, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Manning Motorsports and New England Hemophilia Association. And good luck to all the race car drivers in the racing world who are racing throughout this great nation and throughout the world. And pray for their safety as they continue with their racing careers. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have a good night. Catch you later on another episode of the Josh Nolan Full Throttle Racing Show, #1 on YouTube. And keep living life full throttle.